name's Nikki King-Smith. I own the boat Sandpeep. She was launched in 1935. This is the first boat of Ron Belts, who lived in Giblin Street in Lena Valley. It looks low profile, step-down decks, 1930s styling, and went quite fast. I think he was a bit of a speed freak, so he made it for racing. His wife was part of a family that were timber getters from the West Coast. So he sourced his timber via, I think, the family. So she's hewn pine, pretty much all hewn pine. There was king billy in her decks, and there's some celery top in some of the framing. So I found her, I think in 2010, I saw her floating in the river near Franklin. She had a lot of built infrastructure on top, or what I call dog boxes. So she had dog boxes on top. She was completely different. But you could still see the step-down deck. So whoever had infilled and built on top had just literally built on top. So her original lines were there, you could actually see her. And I've always loved the 1930s lines. So I contacted them in Gumtree and said, I'll swap you a 1950s speedboat that I had for your boat. And he really loved the speedboat. Yeah, so we did the swap, and then I sat with her and thinking, oh my God, what have I done? And when I went aboard after having done the deal, I noticed that there was a lot of oil up the insides of the hull, which is a sure indication that she's perhaps been a bit lower in the water, possibly even sunk. Yeah, she was very soft and smelt pretty bad, and there was a lot of rot. First I had to find people who were willing to take me and the boat on, and that was actually quite difficult. And then the process of going through and working with shipwrights, to be honest, I found a bit difficult. But in the end, we've come through, and I've been very satisfied with the results. So when I got her, her name was Lazy Days, and I knew that wasn't quite right. After I'd taken some of the superstructure off, people then started to recognise her. When I started to get information about her, and then the family came forward, the Belts family, and they had photographs of what she was originally. So I used those photographs to deciding how she needed to be, what I wanted her to look like, which was bringing her back to what Ron would have built it as, but then to slightly modernise it to the point where people in the future might appreciate her. So she had an aft cabin, and I decided to keep that off. And I thought a long bench seats at the back were probably going to save her more than having her restored to the original configuration. Ron was a joiner, and he used to do fit-outs inside houses. So in his own house at home, he's got some veneered furniture which still exists apparently in his old family house. My suspicion is that in the front cabin, for the beds, he would have used some of the house veneers, because there are some patches there, and the veneer was really badly gone, and I couldn't identify what it was originally. Again, I think the sinking or the wetness had destroyed it. But my suspicion is that it would have had quality veneer work inside, in the cabin work. So meeting the family meant an enormous amount, as it brought in the information that I needed to complete her and bring his soul back into the boat. Yeah, so one of the biggest changes that I made to her to bring her into the future is to repower her. So I've put in a 10 kilowatt electric motor with a 200 amp hour battery, 48 volt system. I wanted the vibration of the diesel out. I wanted her quiet, and I didn't want the smell of diesel anymore. So so I repowered her with electric, and I'm really happy with that. It's brilliant, really nice. My favourite spot on the boat is either under the coach house, where you can lean up against the pole, get a bit of shade, but also at the very back, where you can just bob. I think it's the perfect place for bobbing.